completing the square is going to follow one of two methods. The first method that I taught you guys in class was we would have our equation x squared plus 8x plus 9, and let's write another equation as well. But we're going to work the original method on the left-hand side. The first thing I taught you guys was to subtract the 9, anything that doesn't follow that pattern. Obviously, 9 is a perfect square root, but unfortunately, it does not match with that 8 because it should be the square root of 9, 3, and then 3 times 2 is 6, and we have an 8, so it doesn't work out. So we're going to bring over the 9, and we'll have x squared plus 8x, leave some space, equals negative 9. And so we're going to fill in this portion right here, and the formula that I taught you guys is going to be that b over 2 squared. All right, so I'm going to plug that in. My b value, again, comes from my 8 right here, and so it should say adding 8 divided by 2 squared. And what you do to one side, you do to the other. After you write this out, you can use your calculator and figure out what that's going to be. 8 divided by 2 is 4, and then 4 squared is actually 16. So we can rewrite this, 8x squared plus 8x plus 16 equals negative 9 plus 16. So on the left-hand side, I need to factor this, and we can use the x method, but on the right-hand side, the negative 9 plus 16 is going to give us a positive 7. So we're going to take this, and we're going to factor it like normal. We're not going to do the shortcut yet. So I'm going to do my x method, put my b value on top, which is my 8, and my 16 on the bottom. I'm going to do the factors of 16. That's 1 and 16, 2 and 8, and 4 and 4. And I'm just asking myself what combination adds or subtracts to get me my 8 on top, and everything's positive. So everything in my list is also positive. So I can look at this and say, all right, well, the two 4s, if I multiply, that gets me a positive 16. And if I add them, give me 8. So I'll rewrite my factors as x plus 4. And since I have x plus 4 twice, I can combine it and say x plus 4 2 times, or to the second power, equals 7. All right, if I wanted to do the shortcut, you do not have to do the x method. You could simply take the square root of the first, square root of the last, and that sign in the middle, and then each piece is brought down in order to give you the same answer as we had before, okay? After you complete the square, you are going to take the square root. When you do that, that gives you a positive and negative square root of 7. We cannot reduce the square root of 7 at all, so after this, we just need to subtract 4 from both sides, and since it is not like terms, we are going to put this negative 4 in front. So our final answer is going to say x equals negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 7, and that is our answer. So let's talk about a slightly alternative method that might be more helpful for those of you who are still struggling. Again, we'll go ahead and transfer over any numbers that don't follow our pattern. So in this case, the 31 definitely doesn't follow the pattern. We're going to bring that over. We'll get x minus 12x, put some space, equals negative 31. So let's talk about why we're doing the perfect square, or the square binomial squared specifically. If I were to have this, it'd be x plus a, we'll do plus first, squared. If I were to FOIL this out, I'm not going to do it because it'll take a while, but I'm going to tell you what it's going to equal. It'll give us x squared plus 2ax plus a squared, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this idea to help me figure out what I need to fill in to my blanks. All right, so I'm going to take that 2ax, which corresponds with my negative 12 up here, and I'm going to ignore the x's and set the negative 12 and the 2a equal to each other. Because if I am supposed to be getting a binomial squared, then obviously this negative 12 should follow the format of 2ax. So I set them equal to each other. I can divide by 2 on both sides, and I get a is equal to negative 6. Now notice that our a value is at the end as well. So we've done all this work over here to figure out what a is, and now we can transfer this information over to the end, which, as we can see, is currently, missing. So I'm going to say, it's going to be a squared which I figured out was negative 6 squared, and that's going to equal positive 36. So I'm going to add 36 because according to my information with my little formula right here, when I did all this work, this is supposed to equal this. So that's why I said them equal to each other. I did the work, figured out A is equal to negative 6, and then I used that information to transfer it over and create my pattern that I'm looking for. From here, you are going to add 36 on the other side as well. And I'll put a little line down here so we know that this area is separate. From here, I get x minus 6 squared equals 5. Let me erase all that. Okay, so I've used the formula that I just erased to finish my pattern. What I do to one side, I do to the other, and then I just did the shortcut for factoring, x minus 6. So again, that is going to be the square root of the first, square root of the last, and the sign in the middle, and each piece comes down and it becomes squared. Okay, so from here we can take the square root of both sides. We should get x minus 6 equals positive or negative 5. Bring over that 6 to get x equals 6, positive or negative, square root of 5. And this is the answer. So please make sure if you need to watch this video again, you can pull out your cell phone if you need to watch the video again if you really need to. But most of you guys should be okay at this point. I don't care which method you choose, just make sure you show all your work and you are definitely allowed to work together.